Welcome to Chalk Talk on FCDallas.com, where we take a tactical analysis of the upcoming matchup for FC Dallas. Before we take a look forward, we want to take a look back for both teams. FC Dallas is coming off of a 1-1 draw in front of a sellout crowd here at Pizza Hut Park against the Chicago Fire. San Jose had their home opener, and they squared off against Real Salt Lake in a match that they lost by a score of 1-0. So they'll be certainly coming to town looking for a fresh start to the 2011 season. What we have in this match, and what we saw last week, particularly for San Jose, is they lined up in what they call a 4-3-3 system. And that formation is 4 at the back, 3 across the midfield, and 3 up top. Now, I wrote 4-5-1 up here because sometimes it looks a little bit like that when you get Chris Wondolowski or Kari Stevenson tracking back to help the midfielders defensively. That's when it looks like they have 5 in the midfield. And they did that to really try and work against the possession of Real Salt Lake throughout that match. FC Dallas, they started last weekend in a 4-1-4-1 formation, very similar to what we saw all throughout 2010. But I believe in this game there are 3 keys to FC Dallas's success. The first key to success for FC Dallas on Saturday night when they take on the San Jose Earthquakes, they have got to lock down Chris Wondolowski. He lines up in this role for the most part for the San Jose Earthquakes. He'll either be on this right side or sometimes drift out to the left side when he and Kari Stevenson exchange roles. He will also sometimes pop up here where Ryan Johnson does. Ryan Johnson is typically the guy that stays most high for the Earthquakes. So what FC Dallas needs to do is really keep a close eye on Chris Wondolowski because, hey, at the end of the day, last year he's the Golden Boot winner. He had 18 goals, and at one point in the season he scored 10 goals in 10 consecutive games. Really impressive from the right-sided player. Also, 9 game-winning goals for Chris Wondolowski. So the player that responsibility falls onto, the whole lot. So what you'll have with a red card suspension to Breck Shea, you'll probably, I would imagine, would have George John starting the right center defense. There'll be a question about who that player is that will play up next to George John. Daniel Hernandez will have to play some type of role in dealing and handling with Chris Wondolowski in and around the area. But what you'll see in this clip, Chris Wondolowski missed an opportunity in the match against Real Salt Lake. In 2010, this guy didn't miss hardly at all. And I would expect that he'll continue that fine form into 2011. But FC Dallas is going to do everything that they can to make sure that is not the case on Saturday night. Wondolowski is so very good at popping up in difficult areas to mark inside the penalty area, and he's always busy and active to get on the end of services. Look for him to try to do the same thing on Saturday night. The second key to success for FC Dallas in this match on Saturday night is they must break pressure, particularly through the back line or the midfield for FC Dallas. In the match against Chicago, it wasn't the best passing night for FC Dallas as it was the first game of the season. I would expect to see them a lot sharper, a lot crisper and precise with their passing. A lot of that responsibility falls on the defenders and Daniel Hernandez, and perhaps if this is Eric Alexander or Ricardo Villar as well in the center of midfield. What needs to happen for FC Dallas, anytime any of the defenders in the back line have the ball, they must move the ball very quickly across the back to try to make these 3 forwards move around in such a way that FC Dallas can play past them. If they can pass beyond that initial line of pressure, that is to the benefit of Dallas. What they didn't do well, Dallas that is, in the last match against the Chicago Fire was really get the ball to Daniel Hernandez and Eric Alexander very early and often. Another key to that is Ferreira. So if they're able to get the ball into the feet of Daniel Hernandez, perhaps into Alexander, that will allow the FC Dallas attack to get off moving forward, which is exactly what FC Dallas fans want and expect to see. So I would believe that anytime the ball is at the back, it should move quickly and across the field so that you're stretching these players here for San Jose. Get the ball into the midfield early, quickly. That way, Daniel Hernandez and the other central midfielders can really get the ball moving forward. In this clip you'll see with Real Salt Lake, they win a ball early and they quickly break an initial line of pressure in the midfield of San Jose, and it's Fabian Espindola who ends up getting an opportunity for a service in the end. So that was exactly what FC Dallas will look to do on Saturday night. The third key to success for FC Dallas on Saturday night against San Jose is I believe they must have a strong flank presence in the game. Who that responsibility falls to? Perhaps it's Marvin Chavez on the right side of midfield again. He was so busy and active against the Fire last weekend. Last week it was Eric Avila on this left side of midfield. Perhaps it's Jackson moving forward. There's some decisions to be made there. We'll find out who that'll be as the week progresses. But I believe that FC Dallas needs to do a better job of establishing some width in the game. And I thought most of the time against the Chicago Fire, that width came from the outside fullback Jackson or the outside fullback Zach Lloyd. Lloyd was the one that set up the goal for Milton Rodriguez in the first half. So I would expect FC Dallas, when they get the ball in these positions with Daniel Hernandez, and if they're doing what the second key was, then it helps cue that flank presence. So look for Hernandez to distribute the ball quickly into different areas so that they can, FC Dallas that is, can create one-on-one situations with the outside fullbacks. Marvin Chavez and his pace, well, he's going to be a thorn to any left-sided defender side throughout that match. So a good one to keep an eye on, Marvin Chavez, perhaps Ramiro Corrales on this side. So Daniel Hernandez moving the ball quickly, and what you'll see in this clip here, Real Salt Lake does a good job of build-up. Beckerman plays the ball into the feet of Ned Grabavoy, and you'll look there in that clip. It's a familiar position for FC Dallas fans when you think of David Ferreira. He's in behind that first line of pressure of the San Jose midfield. So if FC Dallas can do that, then they're able to push higher up the field, get their wide players up here in those situations, and now FC Dallas can look at creating two-on-one situations perhaps and really stretch that three-man midfield that San Jose has been employing, unless that is Kari Stevenson and Chris Wondolowski push back. So ultimately, the tactics of this specific matchup, FC Dallas must create a strong flank presence. If they do that, who gets better in the game? David Ferreira, Eric Alexander, Ricardo Villar, Daniel Hernandez, any of the players that are centrally, that will really free them up to give them time and space.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it would be beneficial. You know, obviously if they have three, they're probably pushing a couple higher, so we're gonna have to break that first line of pressure. But you know, as far as you know, possession is concerned, I think we do a good job. You know, however many they or any team plays in there. So I think having a couple extra might definitely be beneficial for us.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a point of emphasis for the coaching staff to make sure we stay with our marks and kind of, you know, pick up the pieces after set plays and staying sharp, really.
Well, obviously, you know, David is always a huge part of our offense. You know, we depended a lot on him on the offensive side. But I think, you know, we also have our outside midfielders that are a huge part of our attack, playing with one forward. We ask a lot of them to get up in the attack and support our forward and David. So I think it's just maybe trying to play a little more direct, but also being smart with the ball and making sure we keep that possession throughout the game, which I think will be very important this coming game because, you know, 2 games in a row at home, you definitely want to try to take advantage of this game coming up and hopefully get those 3 points.
Saturday night's game between FC Dallas and the San Jose Earthquakes give us plenty of reasons to watch. The MLS MVP David Ferreira will be on the field. The Golden Boot winner Chris Wondolowski will be on the field for San Jose. It really gives us a good matchup in this game. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. at Pizza Hut Park here in Frisco, Texas. You can see that game on Fox Sports Southwest Plus, or you can tune in to 1270 a.m. Univision Radio with your host, Carlos Alvarado. Make sure you keep coming back to FCDallas.com as we'll continue our Chalk Talk series throughout 2011.